Hello and welcome back to the next episode of Starting Steps. After the first two episodes where we went through the game settings and the race settings, as well as a quick overview of the UI and what those windows do and the things you want to be looking out for when you first set up a game, we're now going to actually get into it. In this video, my goal is going to be to give you a rough idea of what you want to do when you're first starting out. This will be slightly like a playthrough, but I'll be explaining what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and the main objective is to make sure that you understand what actions you may want to take starting out. So here we are in the solar system. We have Terra, or Earth, as I've renamed it to Terra, and we have all of these lovely bodies in the solar system. Now, using the stuff that we learned, I'm going to quickly turn off the asteroids so we can get a clearer view of the situation, because they tend to clutter the map. These bodies here are comets, and obviously, as you can recognize, this is our solar system. Now, generally speaking, we are starting at a point that is conventional technology. When we are at this tech level, we need to get to Trans-newtonian technology, so that is going to be our first priority. The second priority after that is going to be surveying the solar system, and the third priority is going to be colonization to grow our population, build our mineral stockpile, and identify key mineral sites and potentially other fun things that we could find, such as ruins. Once we have that locked down, we can then begin to prepare ourselves to leave the solar system. Once we leave the solar system, we can then start to colonize outside of Sol, find places we want to do that with, and we can begin to build a starting military force to guard what we have created. So let's start with the first one. We're going to start with getting Trans-newtonian technology. Currently, we just have a construction and production scientist who is ready to go. So we're going to do that. I'm going to set back up everything that I told you guys to look back before, because this looks like this save did not save correctly. So let me just do that very quickly. And that shouldn't take too much time at all. Automated. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and throw our defensive. We'll go ahead and throw the ground combat guy on Academy Commandant. Cool. And then industry, we're going to go ahead and build 2 military academies first. Shipyards, we'll be expanding this to a 3,000 ton yard. This yard, we'll be expanding this to a 100,000 ton yard. We will be ordering power and propulsion scientists to start research on maximum engine size and engine mod. This is for commercial vessels. Trans-newtonian Tech is obviously for everything else and is very, very important. And we'll go ahead and order our defensive systems to begin researching armor. Not only does armor improve our capability to survive hits, it also reduces the amount of space that armor takes up for a given amount of armor provided, which means that it's more efficient when we have higher armor techs, and it reduces our overall needs to reduce the amount of size we need to actually build these ships, which is the idea of researching that. So let's go ahead and increment. We've got events turned on, and we're going to start incrementing every 1 day, a 1 day increments at a time. The game will interrupt us when something important happens, and yeah, let's go. We still have a research lab that I forgot to assign. We're going to go ahead and assign that up, and then we're going to keep incrementing every single day here, and you'll see pop-ups that occur. Most of these are commanders and other things that are being promoted, or bonuses are increasing. We just complete the first rate of armor, so we're going to go ahead and research the second rate of armor. And that should be done relatively shortly. That is now done. We are going to check, do we have any construction production scientists? No, we do not. So I'm going to go ahead and assign a ground combat scientist to begin researching geosurvey equipment, which we might need depending on what we survey. That is for the ground. That reveals extra potential for planets we do survey, and we'll be seeing more of that hopefully in the future. I'm also going to research xenoarchaeology and construction equipment, because we will also need those if there are any ruins in Sol. I'm going to go ahead and turn on 5-day increments to speed it up a little bit as we wait. So we just completed maximum engine size 40. Great. Trans-newtonian Tech will be done in 2054 at the current rate of things. Engine modifier was successfully researched. We're going to go ahead and get the size 60, because I want to build relatively large ships, and the bigger engines you have, the more efficient they are for fuel and all the other good stuff. We got complete capacity on this yard. We're going to go ahead and add a slipway there. And I think we are taking a little bit too long with this. So because the bonus isn't that great on a construction and production scientist, and he's limited to only 5 laboratories, we are going to grab our highest research guy, which is direct fire weapons, and we're going to assign him instead to it. And I'm even going to take away geosurvey equipment on the ground research to assign labs up to there. Now, we assign one person to the geosurvey equipment, though, and we will continue on. Which means we should get Trans-newtonian Tech very, very shortly here. There we go. Okay, now everything's opened up. We're going to finish off this military academy, but we're going to start converting our conventional industry. So currently we have 1,600 conventional industry installations. We want to convert those to Trans-newtonian installations because they're significantly more effective. For reference, a conventional industry mines 1 ton of minerals every single year. However, a mine will do 10 minerals. A single mine compared to one conventional industry. So it is much, much more efficient. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to convert 800 to construction factories. And we're going to take 50% of capacity. Then we're going to convert 600 mines. The reason we're doing this ratio is because construction factories are very important because they keep producing, everything else that we need. And mines are also very important, and we're going to need those for both current mining operations and future mining operations. Then we're going to need 100 financial centers at least. And what they will do is, as we produce more and more and more, and we build more, we will actually start spending more and more racial wealth. And we can go into a deficit really quickly here if we're not careful. So we are going to build some financial centers. With the rest, I'm going to order I'm actually going to go for 7.5%. And I'm going to do 150 financial centers because that should be safe for us. We'll do that. Also, the more wealth you generate, the higher productivity your civilian industry has in terms of mining and things like that. So you want to keep that wealth high, and that's what financial centers do. They generate wealth and more resources. Then we're going to grab this. We're going to go for 50 fuel refineries. We're going to put that to 2.5%. And that's going to start our basic conversions off. Other than that, we are going to begin to research the things we will need for our first survey vessel. So we will need new engines. So the first thing we're going to do is going to research the radioisotope thermal generator. Each engine tech has essentially a reactor, and then you research its associated engine. And that's how each tech works. So it's essentially 2 techs. And in this case, it's the first tier of technology for Trans-newtonian and is far more powerful than any kind of conventional engine. I don't recommend using conventional engines if you are starting at 100% research rate. We are then going to go to sensor fire control, so I'm going to research geological survey sensors. Geological survey sensors are going to be needed to actually survey the solar system. Again, there are conventional survey sensors, but we're going to be skipping past that because we are on 100% research speed. So let me start incrementing 5 days at a time. We completed the military academies and we've begun production on the remaining on the conversions. Radioisotope generator is done. With that, we're going to begin to research the nuclear radioisotope engine, which should be done in 6 months. Geological survey sensors completed. With that, we're going to start to spread out some of our research. I'm going to have our sensor and fire controls begin research into science department. That will provide additional bonuses to ships who equip it for survey purposes. We're not going to be using it on the first generation survey ships, but we will be using it on future ships that will be leaving our solar system. Then we're going to go to ground combat. I'm going to assign 3 labs to geosurvey equipment, the geosurvey construction equipment, and to xenoarchaeological equipment. If you want more information on ground forces, I do have other episodes which are currently up on the channel and a playlist for ground force tutorials, which more and more videos will be coming out for that. I'm also going to assign defensive systems to get Trans-newtonian armor, which should improve things. And then logistics. We don't have any current scientists for logistics, but I'm going to assign a direct, this 30% bonus guy, I'm going to assign that to construction. We have a construction and production scientist, but he's a bit naff, so we are going to go ahead and we're going to begin researching cryogenic transport. After that, we're going to get ship tractor beams. Those are going to be used for space stations and for towing them to places. And we'll be needing them for mining what is the real gold mine of Sol, and that gold mine is the comets. That's where you'll want to mine because they will have high access but not many minerals. And minerals now is a lot better than minerals later. Whenever you're looking to survey, you want to find high accessibility minerals, not necessarily lots of them at low accessibilities, which is often why you don't see people mining Venus, for example. Anyway, let's increment along as we get underway researching the necessary things. Okay, there's the nuclear radioisotope engine, which is fantastic news. We are going to begin researching a plethora of things. I'm going to assign one lab to efficiency, reduce the amount of liters of fuel our ships consume, one lab to maximum engine size, and the remaining labs to pressurized water reactor. With that now done, we can begin, because we have the geological surfaces, to design our first ship. Now, before we get into this, I will say that I'll be making separate videos on class design, ship design, and all that other great stuff. However, I'm just going to go over the basics for now for doing a basic survey vessel. So we're going to hit new ship class down here. We've got our name, go to class. We're going to go here. This does not affect anything but naming. We're going to go to survey ship. Call it a survey ship. We are then going to go to, I'm going to go and hit wide view so you guys can see both sides of the current, this is current components, they're on the ship. This is components we can add to the ship. So we are going to need an engine. So we're going to go over to the design tech at the bottom here. We're going to go to engines. And I'm going to go with 80% engines at size 20, I think. No, we'll do size 15 because that will be about 1,500 tons of ship will be associated with this design. The reduction engine power will reduce the amount of fuel we consume by a significant amount. If you can see here, 100% would consume 61 liters per hour while it's being used. 80% would only consume 28 liters per hour. Considering this is a survey vessel, we want that efficiency to be a bit higher. The engine size I've chosen means that we're going to have 2 engines on this ship. That will make it so we have, and I'm planning to make a 3,000-ton ship, as we saw with the shipyard. And that will mean we have 1,500 tons of leftover space, more like 1,000 tons, because armor will take up stuff and other requirements, other miscellaneous items. So we're going to go and design this. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to hit prototype. What prototype does is it creates the engine, but you can't use it. And if we turn on prototypes here, we can use that to test if it will work or not. So we're going to put 2 of those on. There we go. And then later we can go select it and then go down to the right hand side here and hit research prototype, and it will then appear in our research window and we can go and research it from the power and propulsion section. Really useful and something I highly recommend. So we've got those nuclear engines working pretty well. I'm going to set a deployment time of 24 months. I'm going to, which is about enough. 24 months is 2 years, obviously, and we'll be able to come back to Earth at any point to resupply, refuel. This is basically, your morale, essentially. If it goes below, if it goes above this, the amount of time spent in space, away from dock, away from maintenance facilities, away from population, all that kind of stuff, specifically away from population, then your ship will lose morale and people will not be very happy and will do their job worse. Then we have maintenance life, which we'll get to in a bit. We are going to need geological survey sensors. We're going to add 2 geological survey sensors, which generate 2 survey points per hour. For reference, what that does is if we go down to here, we see geosurvey points. If we had a ship in orbit on Mars and we're geosurveying Mars, it would take 170 hours to actually complete that survey. So not that long at all, really. So that is more than enough for what we need. For range, as we can see, the solar system is 5 billion, about 5 billion that way. And again, we're holding down shift and we're dragging here. Across is about 9 billion kilometers, something like this. From the very edge to the very edge, you're talking about 9 billion kilometers. The furthest away thing for us is about 10 billion out. So we don't really need that large of a range. So we're going to keep it at 34 billion kilometers. With the remainder, we are going to begin to add engineering spaces. What engineering spaces do is they lower the incremental failure rate, which is here, and the average failure rate. And that incremental failure rate, which is the one you should care about, is that in this case, every 5 days or every construction cycle, there's a 0.9% chance of a component on this ship failing and will need to be repaired as such. The lower this is, the better. Now, the other thing that's important is the max repair cost. So our engines cost, not our engines, our geological survey sensors cost 100. That means they will need 100 maintenance supplies. We currently have 74 to repair. So if we get unlucky and one of these sensors breaks, we will not have enough maintenance supplies to repair it. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another engineering space. That gives us 4.64 years of maintenance life. You don't want to overdo it because it's a waste of resources. But that maintenance life, if it goes above that, and if you go out of your maintenance life window, you will start having breakdowns, your ship will potentially explode, and a bunch of other issues will occur. I'm going to show you how to make sure that doesn't happen, both through this design and through your naval command orders. But this gives you a really good idea of how that works. I would keep it something like this. So, and we've got enough here for our max repair, which is perfect. So we're going to call that a day for now, and we're just going to fill up the remainder with what I like to call a little bit of chat. So we're going to add a small maintenance storage bay, which will add enough MSP just in case both sensors fail. And then the remainder, because I want that nice round 3,000 tons, because I'm autistic like that, we are going to grab our fuel storage. We're going to add some fuel in until I hit that number. I'm going to reduce the small by that, and then add in the fighter versions. So we have more than enough range. We go 2,000 kilometers per second, which is pretty damn fast. 350 build points, 24-month deployment time, and 3,000 tons. We are then going to go ahead and hit research prototype. And I'm going to go to the priorities and MISC tab. I'm going to name our ships. But I want it to be automatic when we build the ships in the shipyard. So I'm going to name these after space shuttles, which you can select in the naming theme there. And I'm going to call this United Terran Ship, or UTSS. United Terran Spaceship. And then we're going to select random name from theme. So that will randomly select from this theme when we build the ships. And we're just going to wait on the new armor and the engine. So we're going to go ahead and go to research here. I'm going to grab some power and propulsion scientists, and I'm going to have them labs and help them research some nuclear radioisotope engines. Actually, it's going to take a little bit longer than I thought it would. So we're going to go ahead and reassign them up quickly. There we go. Nuclear radioisotope. That should be done relatively soon. And we are waiting on that uranium armor as well for our ship. There's the engine completed. I'm going to put those labs back over here to maximum engine size. I'm going to reassign one labs, though, to make sure that we quickly finish up that uranium armor. Slipway was added, which is great news. So they're ready to go. That 3,000-ton shipyard is waiting perfectly. We are going to prepare it, though, for the future. We're going to build it, make it a 10,000-ton yard. And we are going to get ready for our uranium armor. There we go. This is how you update your armor if you're ever in this window. You just go over here, you hit update. That'll update the armor, and we saved 80 tons there. I'm then going to use the remainder, actually, to, I think we'll increase our deployment time to 48 months. Let's get that up a bit. I'm going to add some additional fuel just to be safe. There we go. Our ship is ready to go. And once you build the ship, it will lock the design and you can't modify it anymore. You can hit unlock design with Space Master mode, but I don't recommend it for now. If you want to make a new version of ship, just hit copy class, and then you can make a new vessel based off that. So, with that being said, we are going to go ahead and retool. So you get a free retool every time that you build a ship. You tool a ship for the first time. This basically tells the shipyard, hey, this is the ship I want to use. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to hit retool for our ship. And then we're going to go ahead and go to shipyard fleet. So this tells us where we're going to build the fleet, build the ship into. We have a shipyard fleet already at Terra here, which starts at the start of the game. Which is in our naval command window. And it's given the name UTSS Columbia, obviously after the USS Columbia, or the Space Shuttle Columbia, sorry. And we're going to go ahead and hit create task. and then we've got the inspiration as well. We're going to hit create task as well, and those will be completed in a little over a year's time on the 2nd of December 2054. So those will be underway relatively quickly. We're then going to redirect our scientists to go over to our high density uranium armor, and we're going to start going ahead. The only thing that I will do, however, is we're going to talk a little bit about admin commands. Now, admin commands are a way where you can both organize and provide bonuses to your ships and fleets. In this case, we have our very highest command, which is the United Terran States Navy. We are going to hit automated assignment, so this will assign people automatically, and then the bonuses I want them, like the governor bonuses, I want them to be survey. So I'm going to hit assign commander to ensure that I get that guy. Okay, 25% survey rate. He will provide that downwards. And then I'm going to go over here and I can create a survey command. I'm going to hit create command here. And I'll explain more of what all these things do in other videos, but we're just going through what I'm doing and kind of basic so you can kind of follow along and play your own game. So we're going to hit new admin command and we're going to call this survey command. Now, once those ships are ready to go, they are going to go in there, and we're going to assign a survey command, a survey commander. Just know that basically, if it's a survey command, they do better at surveying. If it's a general command, they do better at everything. If they're a little bit of everything, if they're a naval command, they do better at military ship stuff, things like that. That's a good way of looking at it. Sometimes they're too junior because you put something like that. Just hit assign commander again, and that'll fix things up for you. Moving on then, 5-day increments, and we are getting close. UTS Columbia, UTS Inspiration, built at Terra. We are going to order 2 more ships to be completed, the Endeavor and the America. We're going to grab those ships out of this. We're going to this is the fleet that they are within. This is how you give orders. You order through the fleet. These are the ships within the fleet. We can see here, commanded by Rachel Ferguson, and UTS Inspiration, commanded by Bethany Nolan. We're going to go over here. We're going to select the ship directly. We're going to hit detach, and we're going to do the same. This detaches them into their own fleet. We're then going to drag and drop them over to the survey command like this, and there we go. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to set up something called standing orders. These are automated orders that they will do if there's nothing else that they've been ordered to do. And what we want for them to do is obviously to survey. So we're going to go to standing orders here. If you're an old player, you will recognize that this is very different. This was added in 2.6 and is a much nicer way of setting up your orders. So we're going to go ahead and say, hey, I want you to survey the next 5 system bodies. So we're going to add that standing order. There we go. So if it's not doing anything, it will survey 5 system bodies that it can. Then I'm going to say, okay, if your fuel is less than 50%, I want you to return home and refuel. So we're going to select that, and then we're going to select refuel at colony. I'm going to add that as a conditional. So if fuel less than 50%, refuel at colony. The next thing I'm going to decide, okay, if you exceed your deployment, come back to colony, refuel, rearm, and overhaul. Overhaul means that you reduce the maintenance clock, and if you're overhauling at the colony, you'll naturally reduce your deployment clock because you'll be overhauling there and getting refitted and ready, so your clocks come down and you get refreshed. So we're also going to add that as a condition. We're then going to create template, and this will save this template so that we can apply it to other ships without too much hassle. So we're going to call this Sol Survey Orders. Once that is done, we're going to go over to the inspiration and we're going to hit load template. Both have been loaded, and now we're going to start our survey efforts. I'm going to slow the game down a little bit because we survey relatively quickly, and we're going to have a look at some of the things that we find. So Luna will be surveyed first, obviously, and that shouldn't take too long at all. It does seem that, again, because more ships got assigned to these admin commands, it was kind of junior level. We'll need to reassign better, higher rank people to these positions. So, let's have a look. Did we find anything on the moon? We did not find anything on the moon. And you can keep track of this by just refreshing this and having a look here. You can also go to your system view and see anything here. The U means unsurveyed. The M means it has minerals. Blank means nothing. So we did find some minerals on Mercury. We found, under the command of Bethany Nolan, we found 3 million tons of uranium at 0.9 access. That's really good. 5.1 million tons of carbonite at access 1, also really good. Titanium, 3.1 million tons, access 0.5. Boronide, 2.5 million tons at 0.5. Magnesium at 0.1, which is pretty bad. Some uridium and gallicite at 0.8. We also found, and I've never found this before, a destroyed outpost on Mercury, which is a ruin. That's a big discovery. It's a tiny ruin, but it is a ruin. And yeah, Mercury is looking very, very interesting. So we'll definitely be looking at colonizing that one in the future. So let's go over what these minerals do, by the way. Uranium is used for most things, shipbuilding, armor, pretty much generic stuff, maintenance supplies. You want uranium, it's really good. Cobalt is used for things like research facilities and high-tech stuff. Think of it in that way. Tritanium is used for missiles, tritanium nuclear warheads, things like that. Boronide is used for like terraforming installations, terraforming modules, all bunch of stuff. And isn't as important. Magnesium is used for research labs. So I might have actually gotten that flipped around with carbamite. So let me just check. Carbamite is for financial centers, sorry. And then boronide is for things like fuel refineries and other stuff. And iridium is used for a bunch of different things, but mainly for maintenance supplies. And gallicite is used for engines, which is very valuable, and for maintenance supplies. So those are some very, very valuable things. You can go over here to the display tab and you can hit mineral concentrations. And that will be able to show that yellow outring there that shows that it has minerals. And now we're going to continue to increment along as we survey Venus and we survey a bunch of other places. Right now, the Columbia looks like it's surveying nothing. It's surveying asteroids that we've turned off from being visible right now. So we are going to increment along. It looks like Venus also had minerals, so we're going to go ahead and look at those. Venus had some pretty poor minerals, so nothing of too much importance. But yeah, that's really cool. That's the first time I've actually seen Mercury like that. We're going to hit create colony before we do anything. We don't have ships to be able to actually colonize, but we're going to do that. All that create colony does is it means we can interact with this world with vessels and things like that and land people there. That's all it means. It doesn't actually mean there's people on it yet, just to be clear. But this is a really nice Mercury. It's got 4.7% or 4.7 accessibility, which is really, really high and very, very good. So we're going to continue to increment along here as our ships survey the solar system. Construction equipment, we're going to need that xenoarchaeology if we're going to figure out what's going on there. And we are also now surveying Jupiter and all that good stuff. 100,000 ton yard is ready to go. So that's going to be our first generation of cargo ships. I'm going to wait until I have a second slipway before we design. And we're probably also going to wait for new engines. So I'm going to redirect some research to here. Now, one of the reasons I like to spread out my research like this is because I want all my scientists to level up, and the more research they do, the higher chance of them leveling up. And I want to get those bonuses going across the board, ideally. That is the main reason. So we have surveyed the Jupiter solar system. Let's have a look what resources we can find here. So if I go over to the left side here, all these are comets mainly, usually pretty great places. Looks like Jupiter is barren. Yes, Jupiter and its entire system does not have any resources on it. We did also survey Mars. Mars sadly did not have anything. So it looks like it'll be Mercury. Keep in mind, all of these resource gens are going to be unique to your game. So do not count on them existing in the exact same way that they do here. It's just not possible. It's one of the fun things. And I'm noticing one real big issue right now, which is that no gas giant in Sol has sorium, which is definitely an issue. Sorium is used to make fuel, and typically you use fuel harvesters to harvest gas giants to create that fuel. We are not going to have that liberty. But yeah, we've surveyed most of the solar system now, and I think that's where we'll leave today's episode off. I hope you have enjoyed. I hope it's been helpful, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode and in future episodes. So leave your comments, likes, and subscribes down below, and let me know what you thought of the video. Next episode will be colonizing.